OnlyBets Sports Podcast alongside DrewDelucci. SternBets, I am the PrinceOfPicks. Welcome in. Happy Monday. We're looking forward to getting this week started here in the sports betting world. Got a lot of things going on today, of course. The NBA playoffs are still in action tonight, as well as the NHL. We got moderate slate in the major leagues, so we got some plays for the ballpark as well. And then light action on the pitch today. I do have one play for soccer, and then, of course, tomorrow is going to be the big one where we have Champions League taking place on the pitch. So, got some sports coming up here today. Got some sports coming up the rest of this week, of course. We'll be excited to get this week started the right way. With that being said, before we get into it, if you guys can do us a quick favor, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to us. If you could rate, review, subscribe, it does wonders in helping us grow this channel and grow this community to get it to more potential listeners. Let me go ahead and pass it over to my co-host, Mr. SternBets. Mr. Mosh, good morning, good Monday. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Glorious Monday morning. I am so excited to get into it. I am fully focused on baseball, getting my models up and running. Everything seems to be flowing. We are on quite a hot streak on the show. Looking back on Friday's show, Pirates Brewers, no run first inning, that cashed. My plus 900 home run sprinkle on Kobe Mayo cashed. And then the Ducks Oilers over 5.5 and Ducks plus 2.5 cashed as well. So another sweep on my end. I know you also hit your home run sprinkle today. We've actually been really kind of hot on those. I mean, I'm gonna jinx myself. We're gonna go cold for the next 2 weeks, but
Yeah, right.
like we've hit more than we haven't in the last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, something's in the water, something's in the air. I don't know what it is, but yeah, tail our home run plays right now because we're hitting them. Yeah, I hit mine as well. Munitaka Murakami, he's been on fire right now, so he's kind of I almost want to say an auto bet at this point. The way that he's just hitting the ball right now is really phenomenal. So yeah, we hit on that. I had a great weekend as well for the show picks here. We hit 6 out of 9 of our show plays that I gave out for the weekend and including Friday. So yeah, great day for us as well. Or great day for me, I should say. And looking forward to keeping that momentum going this week as well. And yesterday we hit a bunch of live plays. I think we had like 7 live plays in a row over on the VIP channel. So we were just had a great weekend. We've been on fire, and like I said, hoping to continue that momentum here into this week.
Yeah, and let's bring in Drew, our co-host here. Ask him about his weekend. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. My weekend was pretty good overall. Got some live bets and stuff down for baseball. I was watching some baseball and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and your home run picks have also been coming through for the most part. So I'm excited to see what we all have for today. It is a slightly smaller slate, but let's review last night's games. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the Ducks come from behind win was incredible yesterday. Incredible. Drew, do you have any thoughts on the games last night? And then I'll get to Prince on NBA reactions.
Yeah, I thought that Ducks Oilers game was pretty dang good. Because I believe it was like 2-2 going into the third, and then the
Well, it was
Ducks.
2-0 going into the second.
Oh yeah. I know it was 2-0 going to the second, but I was saying the ending was really cool. Like I for me when it comes to the Oilers, right? I feel like when the Oilers are up 2-0, they're losing still. That's how I see it. If that makes sense.
I hear it.
No,
Yeah, there was
I'm just kidding. No, but overall that game was amazing. Went to overtime. You can't ask for a better series than that series so far.
no, it was unbelievable watching. I really enjoyed watching that game. And then Colorado destroyed LA. We knew that was coming. Prince had correctly pointed that I think it was Thursday or Friday. He was just like, listen, just bet the better team here. The game that was interesting to me was the Sabres blowing out Boston. I thought that was really interesting. So I am excited to see what is going on tonight. We have Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh, Vegas versus Utah. You know what? Let's just jump into it and we'll get to NBA recap when we get to the NBA. Do either of you guys have any thoughts? You know what, Prince, I'm going to go to you first. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Vegas, Utah. I know you I think we're on the right side of these things. What do you got for today?
Yeah, I do have one play today on the ice tonight for the NHL playoffs. It's going to be another two-pick parlay here, but we'll go ahead and get into it. So for me, guys, first up here, I'm looking at the Vegas Knights taking on the Utah Mammoth. In this one, I like the Knights team total over 1.5 goals. When we're looking at the data here, this has hit in 13 straight for the Vegas Knights. So I think in a position here at home against the Utah Mammoth here. They're down 2-1 in the series, so I think this is a good spot for them to go ahead and put up a couple goals here. We're not asking for much here. Utah is a decent defensive team, but I think again Utah being at home, backs against the wall, metaphorically speaking. I think they should be able to get 2 goals here. So we're going to take the Knights to get 2+ goals, and we're going to parlay that with the Philadelphia Flyers. I'll take them on a +1.5 spread here. I know that they're up 3-1 in the series, so you're probably going to expect the Pittsburgh side, right, to be playing in desperation mode. But this one is in Philly, if I'm not mistaken. Most you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe this one's in Philly. And so if it is, right, at home, getting a goal and a half with them on a spread in a game that they're going to be looking to close out the series, I like that a lot here. And I think the Flyers have shown they're probably the better team overall. There's a reason they're up 3-1. So I think we're getting good value here. Flyers +1.5, parlayed with the Knights team total over 1.5. That comes in around -135.
Yeah, so I love the play. Absolutely love it. Pittsburgh is the home team versus the Flyers. Sorry, yeah, Flyers. I always get confused when I was growing up because it was Detroit for my mom and Flyers when I was growing up in Philly. Yeah, no, but I still like the Philadelphia play. I think that's the sharp side of it. They're generating a ton of high dangerous opportunities. Pittsburgh is not able to suppress that in any which way, shape, or form, and they have the lesser of the goalies here, averaging less than 900%, 9,900 and save opportunities. So it's not exactly the side that I would bet on. I like Philadelphia to win it outright at +120. I thought that was a really good number. Getting the +1.5 on the spread, I think, is an absolute fantastic sharp look. And on the other side, I do lean the Golden Knights as well. I think that if you're looking at the metrics, they are producing such a high volume of dangerous shots against a team that is also below 900 in save opportunities. This is just a mismatch on both sides. I think that both the Knights and the Philadelphia are the favorites and should get the win. Getting it the way you did, I think, is a really smart way to go around it.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously I agree. And I'm with you on the Flyers here as well. I think they probably do win it outright. I'll probably sprinkle their money lane too at plus money to go ahead and close out the series here against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Drew, do you have any thoughts in the NHL, just the 2-game slate before we move on to the NBA and then MLB?
No official plays, but yeah, I like the Philly pick you guys were talking about and stuff like that. But yeah, no official plays for me.
Yeah, for the record, I did put an extra quarter unit on these plays. I usually have a set amount for everything that I play. I put an extra quarter unit on this parlay. I linked it so much. All right, let's move to the NBA. I think that there was a few surprises on the schedule last night. Prince, I'm going to pass it to you. Obviously we had Wemby back, which was nice and obviously expected, although I think Portland did actually better than expected on that one. Philadelphia got flattened. I don't know if there's a nicer way to say that. I went to the bar and it was dead. And then Houston got it done against LA. Sorry, I'm just going through the review now. Anyway, Prince, what was your reactions from last night and what do you have for us today?
Yeah, so recapping yesterday, Cavs Raptors, that was a tough one for me. I'm not gonna lie. The Raptors, I wasn't expecting them to win that one. I actually thought the Cavs were gonna get it done. And what a low scoring game, right? 93-89 was the final score. That's soared under the total there. Yeah, I don't really have a good read on that. I came into this series thinking the Cavs were gonna win this one pretty comfortably, and now we're at 2-2. So we'll have to see about that one. Might be a stay away for me. But in terms of the Spurs and Blazers, I mean, I think that's just an indictment of just how much Wemby impacts the game on both sides, right? And the Blazers, to their credit, they did keep it close as long as they could, but I mean, ultimately they lost by 20+ points. So, the Spurs are the much better team than the Blazers. I do expect them to close it out. I believe it is tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night they play. So I expect the Spurs to close it out with Wemby on the court and. yeah, watch out for the Spurs again. Wemby is just that much of a difference maker. I think it's more of an indictment on him than anything else. Looking at the Celtics Sixers, we've both kind of been. You've been out on the Sixers way more than me, but against the Celtics, I mean, the thing with the Celtics is their 3-point shot variance. Is gonna just you're gonna get these kind of outcomes. Just with the volume of threes that they shoot. Some nights, if they're going in. Good luck. It's just it becomes a math problem at that point. You're just not going to be able to score enough points, especially if you're Philadelphia. I know Embiid came back, but he's been out for a while. And he's just a shell of who he is. I mean, he has some nights where he has a little bit of a throwback to the vintage Embiid, but at this point of his career, honestly, he's just a vastly overpaid, guy who can give you some moderate numbers here and there. But he was really a non-factor last night in
Yeah,
Boston. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
Can I just add, because I had a thought about watching Embiid play last night because I was at the bar watching the game. No matter how good a player is, because granted, he's not who he once was. He's not an MVP anymore, but he is still an all-star. You can see the pressure that he generates on offense, and you can see the defense that he plays on defense. The problem I had with him coming into yesterday was the pace of play dramatically slowed down Maxey and the other stars on Philadelphia to a point where they couldn't get into the rhythm that they were getting into, making a lot of these games closer than what we thought Boston would just blow them out in. Right. Like I had the +7.5 on Philadelphia a few days ago. It lost on the hook. They only lost by 8. With Embiid on the floor, I feel like it just threw off their rhythm. Like you have to refigure out how to play with the new dynamics with somebody on the floor who just plays a different style than you guys. Anyway, I noticed that while I was watching the game. I just wanted to get your thought on that, add that in. But sorry for interrupting. Keep going, man.
No, 100%. You're absolutely spot on. That's exactly what it is with Embiid, where you have someone of his caliber, right, of his stature. But at this point of his career, he can't get up and down the floor like that. That's not his style. He prefers a slow-paced game, but that contradicts what Maxey wants to do. And so it's kind of like a give and take here when you have both of them on the court, which I think, kind of going on a tangent here. Joel Embiid's salary, they're not going to be able to move him, but if there was any way that they could, they should, because they don't fit at this point. The way that I think they're much better playing at a faster pace and when Embiid's there. And just everything slows down. And I think you're spot on with that. I think that's exactly kind of what happened. They're like, oh, what do we do now? We're so used to not playing with him. Now he's back. You kind of got to fit him back in because he's Joel Embiid. You can't just ignore him, right? But in any case, I think Boston's pace to play, their 3-point volume shooting, their offensive output is just going to be too much for Philly in this one. I think Philly got their one win. I expect Boston to close it out in Game 4. I think this is going to be a gentleman's sweep as well as the Spurs Blazers. And then going back to the Lakers Rockets, you expected a response from the Rockets, right? There was no way that the Lakers were going to sweep them. So the Rockets did what they had to do, protected, themselves from getting swept at home. And now we'll see if they can get Game 5. You know what? All the pressure goes back on LA at that point because there's going to be a lot of talk about the Lakers for real. All the stuff we were talking about before the playoffs started, we're going to start talking about again with the Lakers. If they drop this Game 5, so Game 5 obviously is a critical game, but I think it's a must-win in my opinion for the Lakers. If they drop this Game 5, you're going to go back to Game 6 to Houston. You might be looking at a Game 7, and Game 7 is anything can happen. So I think Houston's in this one still. We came into the one thinking Houston was a better team to begin with. And Kevin Durant or not, without Luka, without Austin Reeves, the Lakers are relying on a 41-year-old LeBron James who had just 10 points last night. And maybe you're starting to see some signs of age and some wear and tear on LeBron after a long season. At some point, you're going to expect him to slow down. And if he does, and there's no Austin Reeves, there's no Luka, who do they go to? That's my question. Luke Kennard can only do so much. I know he had a great game the other night, but he's not somebody that I would consider as someone that I can bank on for getting offensive and defensive output. So I think the Lakers are in trouble if they don't win Game 5. They have to win Game 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, small correction. I believe they're going to Houston for Game 5 if they make it on Wednesday.
No. So
No?
the last two games were in because Lakers have home court advantage. So the first two games were in LA. The previous two games were in Houston. So Game 5 goes to LA. Game 6 goes to Houston. And if there's a Game 7, it goes back to LA.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Yeah, trying to figure it all out on the fly here, looking at the schedules. on my little Picket app, which, by the way, I've talked about before. Definitely a good not even investment. It's free. Go find out where the best bets are and all the information that you kind of need, including sharp first public money. Anyway, sorry. What do you have for today, though? We have Detroit, Orlando, OKC, Phoenix, and Minnesota, Denver. Is there any upsets that we're kind of looking at, or are we pretty much just favoring all the heavily favorited teams, in being Detroit, OKC, and Denver?
Yeah, so we'll go chronologically here. We'll start with the earliest one here, Pistons Magic. Of course, 8 p.m. Eastern tip off here. Look, Pistons are in a must-win situation, right? There's no way they can go down 3-1 to an 8 seed in Orlando Magic. So I'm expecting the Pistons to have a response here. I think maybe they let their foot off the gas in Game 3, maybe. And a lot of times, Game 3s are tough for the higher favored, the higher seeded team, right? It's the first home game for the lower seed, and a lot of times those teams typically win Game 3, the home team. So I don't take too much into Orlando winning that one, but Detroit worked too hard this whole season to get the number 1 seed. I can't see them going down 3-1 to Orlando. If it does happen, then we have a whole nother story here to talk about. But I'm expecting a response from Detroit. I'll take them on the money line tonight against the Orlando Magic. That comes in at, let's see here, Pistons money line around minus 145. Shop around, maybe you can get a better price. But I'm on the Pistons tonight. Before I go to my next one, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm also on the Pistons. Not going to bet anything because I have this series winner parlay that I'm still writing out. And I'm playing you, obviously. I think I got it at minus 140 last night when you posted your play. But shout out to join your VIP group because you really do get some awesome plays, including live action. But yeah, I obviously think that the Magic, like we've talked about it all year, they have really high shooting variance, and at some point they come down to earth and they look dreadful. So I do like the Detroit defense to kind of step it up tonight.
Yep, 100%. Drew, you got any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, definitely. I actually have a player prop if I can give it now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah,
Oh,
please and
perfect.
thank you.
Oh yeah, we hit the 14.5 on Friday for Sengun pretty easily. He had like 22 rebounds and assists. So I'm going another rebound assist. When it comes to this, I'm glad I didn't bet it for Sengun yesterday. But when it comes to the rebounds and assists, we're going to go with the former Michigan Wolverine, Wagner, Franz Wagner. He is back, and I like his over 8.5 rebounds and assists. I think that's a low. They adjusted his line higher, but I still think that's low. He had like 11 rebound chances his last game as well. I like his over 8.5 for his rebounds and assists.
Yeah,
Wagner
But I
boys.
do like the
Shout out to Shaq. I
Pistons.
like it. Yeah, I like it. I like
I
the
do like
game.
the Pistons though, but I do like him for rebounds and assists because he's going to be very aggressive to try to get rebounds, of course, and he is a really good passer, of course. So is his brother as well, and I like that. Let me see what I'm going to double check the juices this morning. I have it actually right here.
the juice on FanDuel right now is minus 106. It just moved from minus 102 as you were talking.
Oh, perfect. Yep, that's a great value. Yeah.
For reference, it is minus 110 to minus 118 everywhere else. So, like I said before, go to Picket, use it, and shop your line so that you can consistently get the best prices on the market. Yeah, I really like that play, man. Prince?
Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game then. Again, we're going chronologically here. Next up is going to be the Thunder taking on the Suns. Of course, Thunder up 3-0 in this one. I bet this pre-series for the Thunder to sweep the Suns. That was one of the two series that I thought would end in a sweep. I thought Portland and San Antonio would end in a sweep as well, and I think it would have had Wemby been healthy the entire series. But in any case, getting back to the Suns here, I don't think they have a chance. And I hate to say that as a pseudo Suns fan here, someone who grew up watching the Phoenix Suns as a child. They have a place near and dear to my heart, but you know what? You don't mix emotions with money here. And Mike, in this situation, I think the Thunder are just significantly better in every position. I don't think the Suns are going to be able to put up much of a fight, even at home, even in a desperation game. You're always going to get some effort. If you wanted to play anything for the Suns, I would play maybe a first quarter, right? Because they're probably going to come out. Obviously, tons of energy, home crowd support. You don't want to get swept at home. But when it's all said and done, I think the Thunder just have way too much. This is just it's a bad matchup for most teams, specifically the Suns. You can't count on Jalen Green. Dylan Brooks has been inconsistent as well. He's still dealing with his energy. So Booker is kind of on his own right now offensively. And this Suns team has been punching above their weight all season. So preseason, nobody expected this team to even compete for a play-in spot, let alone the playoffs. I mean, they were projected to be a bottom 5 team in the Western Conference. So the fact that they've gotten this far, I think, is a credit to them and is somewhat of a small victory. But again, Thunder are too much in every single way possible. I will lay the 10.5 with OKC tonight. I think the Thunder win by margin.
I am 100% lockstep with you. I love this play. When you're looking at the sharp money versus public money, 87% of the public is on the spread on Phoenix's side. Yet, only 73% of the sharp money is on Phoenix, which literally gives you a 13% edge off sharp money, all betting OKC minus 10.5. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the Thunder just come in with hockey shifts. I mean, they bring in a group of 5 guys from the bench, and they can all do the same things that the starters do. I mean, you get no relief when you play the Thunder. It's just constant defensive energy, just in your face, in your grill, and they got guys who can score, who can shoot from the 3, every single aspect of the game. The Thunder are just significantly better than the Suns. I don't know what the Suns can do. I don't know what adjustments they can make, especially without Mark Williams. Mark Williams is going to still be out again tonight. He was their one hope. Maybe he could kind of clog the paint a little bit defensively and get some defensive stops with him down there. But without him, this is just, I hate to say it, I think it could be a bloodbath tonight for the Thunder. Drew, I know you're out there in Arizona. What do you think about the Suns tonight? You got any thoughts for us, Drew?
I think he might have had to step away for a call.
He might be a step away. Okay, no problem. Cool. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the final game then tonight, which is going to be, of course, the Timberwolves taking on the Nuggets. This is a very interesting one now, right? This one has really turned into probably the most interesting series because, of course, there's no Ant and there's no DiVincenzo for the Wolves. So, can the Nuggets do it? Can they come back and win 3 in a row without the Timberwolves, without their top 2 players? I'm not sure. The books have it around, I think it's plus 120 right now for the Nuggets to win the series, last I checked, which is a relatively low number. Usually when you're down 3 games to 1, you get a bit of a better price than that. But I think it just speaks to what the books are thinking about the Wolves' chances without Ant and DiVincenzo out there. But look, in my opinion, the Wolves still got players. They got Naz Reid. They got Julius Randle. They have Jaden McDaniel, who's been playing probably some of the best basketball of his career right now. And you know what? He called out the Denver Nuggets one by one and called them out defensively. And I think he's spot on about that. And I think the Denver Nuggets, their Achilles heel here is going to be on the defensive side. They just cannot seem to stop anybody no matter what. So the play that I landed on here for tonight, I'm just going to take the Wolves team total over 105.5 here. You get that at minus 102. I think that's an extremely low number here. Again, for a Denver team that doesn't play defense. I mean, they just let Ayo Dosunmu go off for 40-plus points. People are talking about Ayo Dosunmu now as a perennial all-star because of that game. And I mean, shout out to Ayo. I saw him here in Chicago for 5 years. He's a great player, but 40 points, that's kind of crazy. I don't know about all that. So I think that's more of an indictment on Denver's defense than anything. And like I said, the Wolves still got players here who can put up points at least. I don't know if they win. There's no way I'm ever going to lay 10.5 with Denver. I think that's what the spread is at right now. But I'm going to stay away from the spread just in general. I'm going to stay away from the side. But again, Wolves 105.5. I think that's too low for me. I'll take their team total over.
Yeah, I don't mind it, especially when you remove some defensive pieces from their backcourt. They might be forced to play a higher pace of game and really keep up with the Nuggets because the Nuggets can score. It's really just their defense that's lacking, right?
100%. Yeah, I mean, if they can, their offensive is not a problem at all. It's just on the defensive side. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough because the Wolves are an experienced team. They've been through it. I mean, so are the Nuggets, but you're not dealing with kind of a team that is getting their feet wet in the playoffs. The Wolves are a playoff team in year out. So they have a chance to close it out. You expect them to be ready here to give maximum effort. So. I don't know which way this one's going to go. I'm going to be tuned in for sure. But like I said, I think 105.5 is too low.
Yeah, I will say I do have. I'm not playing it because I don't trust it, but I am seeing some value on the line on the Timberwolves side. Just gonna leave it out there. I can't play it, but like he's kind of said, 11.5 or 10.5. That's a little bit too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, I
Yep.
would I would definitely agree it's too much for sure. Personally, I think that I personally think the Timberwolves are done. Because especially with Anthony Edwards getting hurt, I know they had the superhero effort from Io, but the problem is we've seen this before. Teams rally around their superstars going down. Yes, they have other role players, but we kind of saw it last year, especially with game one with Curry. Curry went down after the first quarter. Jimmy Butler and crew rallied and basically just beat him up, and then they just lost every game after that. So I just don't see the Timberwolves. I see the Timberwolves blowing. I believe they have a 3-1 lead right now, and I see the Nuggets winning 3 straight games.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are on your side, and I mean, I get it. Like I said, obviously, being without Ant is big enough, and you're without DiVincenzo as well. That's two critical pieces of your team, both offensively and defensively. So, yeah, we'll see. They might be one of the few teams that can come back from 3-1, and it probably wouldn't be much of a surprise to most people. Curious to get your thoughts on the Thunder Suns. I think you had to step away for a minute. Do
Yeah.
you have any thoughts on that? I mean, we're both on the Thunder here in a landslide. I think it's a excuse my language. I think it's an ass whooping here. What do you think?
Oh, I completely agree with you. It is definitely going to be. I think it's going to be a butt whooping at the end of the day, regardless if the refs, decide to favor the Thunder extremely. But yeah, I think it's a butt whooping. I think it's a 4-0 sweep, unfortunately for the Suns.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Suns. Yep. It's gonna be 1-2-3 Cancun for them for sure.
Yep.
All right.
Not a
Yeah.
lot of hope there. All right, let's move on to MLB. And then we'll get to soccer, Prince, if you have anything at the end there. But I'm really excited about this slate. It's only 8 games, but we have really some solid pitching going off. I'm going to be focusing on Max Fried personally, but Drew, do you have any thoughts or directions that you want to take this MLB slate and some picks for today?
Yeah, for sure. This Yankees Rangers game is going to be well, I would say like one of the games for sure. Yankees Rangers game is going to be a very fun game to watch. At the end of the day, we have Max Fried versus Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter has, of course, been off and on, and Max Fried has been Max Fried. He's had probably like only one, like not great start for his standards. At the end of the day, but something I do like with Max Fried is he has been able to, of course, go extremely deep in games, and when people when they think that Max Fried, they like Boone might like lower his workload and stuff. But the problem is it's hard to lower his workload when he's deciding to go 8 innings pitch like under 100 pitches. So I'm just gonna stick with what I do every time he pitches. It's only not hit once, so I think it's like 5-1 technically. So give me over 18.5 outs from Max Fried for my first play at plus 105.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm also looking in the Yankee game. You can get this. I got this at minus 125 last night, but you can get this at minus 120 right now on MGM and DraftKings. I'm going to take the Yankees first 5 money line parlayed with their full game money line. Yeah, Max Fried, 2.7% barrel rate, 30.4% hard hit rate. And he's looking every bit of the ace that he is. Jack Leiter, on the other hand, he might have the Yankees Achilles heel. He has the whiff and strikeout numbers, but everything else is worrying, highlighted by a 14.1% barrel rate to a 46.5% hard hit rate. Those are not numbers that are going to be able to compete over 5-6 innings against an elite batting team on the Yankees. And again, the Yankees are hot despite losing their winning streak last night in Houston. Ranger Stadium is not that far off from Houston. Rangers have been struggling to put up runs. I really don't mind the Yankees on the spread either, but I think that there's a really solid value on the first 5 money line, parlay with the full game money line. And you can get this right now at minus 120. Drew, do you like the way I kind of attack that?
Yeah, I was actually thinking of doing the Yankees first 5, but I realized, of course, that you will probably do it, so I can just back your play up.
That's fair. Yeah, Max Fried is just an automatic
Oh
lock.
yeah,
You might lose 1 in 4 or 5 games, but if you lose if you're winning 3 or 4 or 4 out of 5, that's a bet that I'm willing to take. Prince, do you have any thoughts on the Yankee game?
No, I don't actually. I really don't have any thoughts on any of the major league games today. It's kind of a tougher slate for me. So, but yeah, I'll listen to you guys until what you guys got, and then I do have a home run sprinkle at the end.
Yeah, that's I love that segment. We've really been successful at it lately. Drew, where are you going for your second prop?
Yeah, and something about like I love doing max speed over and outs because I've done it every time, and I believe I've done it every start. How many starts? I think he's had like 6 starts. So I would be 5-1 in that long term there. That's really good value. So they keep making his 18.5 outs plus money, even though it's 5-1. So I'm going to take it until they change that. But my the other place that I'm going, the first game that I was possibly interested in was Cubs Padres. I was tempted to take, even though they're my division, rival, and the Padres, kind of there isn't much of a travel advantage, I would say, for either team. So it's just home advantage here because the Cubs were just in LA. But the fact the Padres at home, where they've been absolutely excellent, besides that one loss series to the Giants, only being minus 115 is pretty interesting. I'm going to look at it more probably later on the day because it does start like I believe at 9:40 p.m. Eastern. But before I go to my final play for outs, what was your take on that game, Stern?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cubs. I think that
Oh, you think the Cubs?
they're
Okay.
Yeah, I like them here a lot. I think Prince last night may have mentioned them, and then I was like, you know what? That's an interesting game. I kind of want to fade Randy Vasquez. I think he's due for like a real blow up here. He does have decent whiff to strikeout numbers, but his barrel rate's 13.5% and his hard hit rate's at 41.9%. And then the rest of his metrics are pretty solidly below average. And all it's telling me is that he doesn't really have control yet all the time over his pitches. And you're going to be facing a really hot Cubs team. Granted, I know that they came off an embarrassing 0-6 loss, back-to-back losses against the Dodgers. But before that, they were one of the hottest teams in baseball. Padres, on the other hand, have not been hot at all. And I'm going to say that with an asterisk because they did go to Coors Field. So we call that the Coors Boost. And then they went to the second most hitting friendly environment in Arizona. So sure, we've seen them hit, but they were in extremely favorable hitting situations. And now they're facing a pitcher stadium with much stiffer pitching opposition. The advanced metrics heavily favor the Cubs across the board. Matthew Boyd has a 2.02 Sierra, 1.88 xFIP, which is also heavily due to his CSW, 31.8%. That's really combining your strike to walkout rates. His strikeout rate's an elite 39.3%. His walk rate's at 5.4%. On the other end, Randy Vasquez is decent, right? He has a 344 Sierra, 355 xFIP, but he's in another league in terms of level of pitching. His walk rate's at 7%, which isn't great. His strikeout rate's decent at 26.3. But again, you're talking about a different level of pitcher, and his barrel rate's at 13.5%, which is just unacceptable. Cubs bullpen's actually better at the moment due to recent injuries to San Diego's pitching staff. The only advantage in the bullpen that the Padres have is that ninth inning. Other than that, I actually like the Cubs bullpen much better. Their underlying metrics show that they are better. They are the better side here. I think getting anywhere from minus 102 to minus 105 on the money line offers significant value. I took this at minus 112, and I'm happy where it's at. I really think that the Cubs are the better team. I don't really care that the Padres are at home. Traditionally, they haven't actually been better at home. So yeah, and the Cubs actually were the best team in baseball last year on the road. So I quite like this play a lot.
I will say though, the games against the Diamondbacks were in Mexico City. It was like a neutral site, but that is a good hitting place to hit in Mexico City.
Yeah, Mexico City is like 2,000 feet above elevation. You're right. I messed that
Oh
up.
no,
But
it's
yeah,
like 7,000.
yeah. Is it 7,000? It's
Yeah,
insane. It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
an
that, yeah.
extreme hitting environment for
Yeah,
sure.
it's extreme hitting environment. No, I get exactly what you're saying. Matthew Boyd kind of concerns me. The Cubs bullpen has been a little better. I get what you're saying. It's just Matthew Boyd that concerns me, so that's why I like full game more so, like you said, more so than I like non like first five.
Yeah, I hear you. Where are you going for
Yeah.
but what was your prop play in this game again? Sorry.
Oh, I didn't have a prop play. I was gonna look more into it because it's later on. I'm only
Oh,
gonna
got it.
have probably two overall plays because official plays until I look at more of the Padres game for that case. But my last outs play, I would say that I have. I was looking at some player batter props too, but I couldn't find anything necessarily I like. But we'll go to the Red Sox Blue Jays. This is by no means, by the way, that I'm trying to fade Dylan Cease. This is fading his inability to finish six innings because of how erratic his pitching style is. But I like his under 17 and a half outs at minus 120. He's only covered, I believe he's covered this once all year. His problem is he'll give up only one or two runs. But his problem is he'll walk at least three batters or more each game, and he gets himself into full counts because he has such nasty stuff that people sit on it, and he doesn't have like full control. But his stuff breaks insane. And the Red Sox have actually been pretty patient lately. They've been drawing a lot more walks. They've been working pitchers more, which is what they're doing. And as much as we've seen, as much as we've seen the injuries with the Blue Jays and stuff, there is kind of a leash on Dylan Cease. If you looked at it, it took him 110. As last start, actually, he pitched 110 pitches through 5 innings. It took him 100 pitches to go 5 innings. So I'm for sure think they're going to monitor I for sure think they're going to monitor his pitch count here, especially after pitching 110 pitches for 5 innings. That just tells me he can't really go deep into games without working his pitch count up.
Yeah, I see his. I like Dylan Cease. Honestly, I put a quarter unit on my article last night, which you can find on my Substack. I have premium articles that come out the night before. I took the Blue Jays first five money line at minus 140. Again, just a quarter unit. I really like Dylan Cease. I do. The one caveat, and this speaks to what you're saying, is he has a 12.6% walk rate, which shows that he is not necessarily finishing batters early in the count. Everything else though is elite. I really think that he's going to have one up on the Red Sox, who have not been really that hot despite their recent play. The only reason why this was more than a quarter unit for me is that I don't trust the Blue Jays offense. I don't see that much. They have a few key injuries in their lineup, and they're not putting it together. They're, I think, ranked 27th in the league in scoring in the first 5 innings. So not necessarily a huge volume play for me, but I do like the Blue Jays side here. But I don't mind both cashing actually.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just one of those things when I watch, of course, like Cease is kind of like just a great example for him is well, this guy's not good anymore, but it was like what Jack Flaherty used to be when he actually was good, where he would give up like one or two runs, but his pitch count would be massively high, and that's why I like Dylan Cease and stuff, and we saw Snyder. We just can't have him, of course, go six full innings. I think he goes probably 5 innings and gives up one or two runs to the Red Sox. It's just hard to believe with someone, with that kind of control and stuff. And he'll get because it's crunning. When he went 5 innings, 110 pitches, right? He had 12 strikeouts, but he also had like 5 walks. So he's one of those guys where won't give up as many runs, but he'll walk and strike out people, which includes more pitches and leaving earlier.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Any other games that we wanted to get to? There's only 8 games, and we've discussed about half of them. Is there anything else that we want to get to? Or Prince, is there any questions that you have on any of the games here?
None from
I
my
do.
end.
No. Prince, is there any thoughts on any of these games or any questions that you had on the slate?
No, not really. I know last night we were talking about. I was looking at the Blue Jays team total over 3.5. You kind of talked me off of that one though. What was your reason for that? Just in case maybe some listeners out there are thinking of playing that as well. Why should we stay away from Blue Jays team totals here?
So I do, like I kind of said, I did take the first 5 money line on the Blue Jays, but Dylan Cease is impressing me. I think that he is quickly going to ramp up and get more comfortable in his home stadium. So I think that he is going to be facing a Red Sox team that has faced some positive regression, but again, they're not necessarily a great team just yet. They're not hitting the way that they should. And then the other side, Ranger Suarez is somebody that I can see potential in. I definitely like the Blue Jays getting a run or two off him, but the Blue Jays aren't hitting. There's no offense, no consistent offense from either side here. Both bullpens are all right. I really just have a lean on the under 7 or 7.5, depending on what the number is right now. It is a number that I played off my model, not an official play for me personally, but overall, I can't justify 3.5 runs on the Blue Jays side. I just can't do it.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'll definitely make note of that.
Yeah. There was a few other games though that I linked the under in as well. St. Louis Pittsburgh was one of them, despite the poor starting pitching. Most of these games I actually had the under. We talked about it. It's just not that exciting of a game. Slates, Tampa Bay, Cleveland under, Seattle, Minnesota under, Miami, LA under, New York, Texas even under, despite the fact that I linked the Yankees on the run line and to score a few. Just an under type of day, not exactly a great hitting environment in any of the stadiums, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what made the slate a little bit more difficult for me. Because yeah, it's an understate for sure. So that's why I'm gonna stay away. But yeah, I'll be telling you guys his bets and let's go.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to just point out Yamamoto for the Dodgers is basically almost an automatic play, just like Max Fried is for me. I want you to just to note that I'm not playing them, even though the Dodgers are facing Chris Paddock at home, which I think is a really good matchup for them. Chris Paddock has shown me some stuff that I think he might not be as terrible as we think he might be. And I'm not really sure what to get on the Dodgers from a consistent basis. So I lean under on that game, even though I am with the Dodgers overall. But the numbers from the public have pushed the money line and the run lines way too far in the Dodgers' favor, where I think there's actually movement and honestly value on the Marlins side here. Not in a play, definitely not a play. Then I'm not going to be not backing, or I should say, I'm not fading Yamamoto and the Dodgers at home against the Marlins. But I do want to say that I think that there's value on the other side. The movement has been way too much. And again, we've talked about it many, many times. High profile clubs that have the public love definitely get overbet way too much to the point where there's value on the other side. You can get the +2 at -115 for the Marlins, which is just a ridiculous number in baseball. Anyway, all right. Let's get to home run plays. I'm excited for today. I hit a +900 on Friday. Prince, you hit a +500 or something like that on Friday. Where are you going today, man?
All right, guys. So for today, my home run sprinkle is going to be on Manny Machado, +444, taking on the Cubs. We're looking at the Cubs, the starting pitcher. He's got a 5.4 ERA, I think, coming to this one. So not great, not horrible, but I'll take Manny Machado here, a proven hitter, and we'll see if he can go yard here, +444.
Yeah, I don't mind it, despite me liking Matthew Boyd. He does have a pretty bad hard hit rate, so he's not getting hit often, but when he does get hit, it is hard contact. Drew, where are you going?
Oh, you can go first. I'm just typing something real quick.
Alrighty. I kind of looked at the slate and I was like, where do I want to go and who do I want to fade? And the answer was Jack Leiter. I really like getting Trent Grisham at +460 over on Bet Rivers for a quarter unit. That is my sprinkle number, unless specified otherwise. But Jack Leiter, 14.1% barrel rate, 46.5% hard hit rate. Obviously, there are some other people in the lineup that are probably more likely to hit a home run, but not at this price at +460. I think that the number is really there. I think this number should be closer to 360. This man is hot. Grisham, when you're looking at his hard hit rate, 51.6%. Insane. That is an insane number. And he has an 11.3% barrel rate. Everything here tells me that he should get contact and he should get hard contact against somebody who gives up a lot of contact and a lot of hard contact. So yeah, +460 is the number that I'm ringing my bell on. Drew, where are you going?
Oh, going to the same exact game. I'm going with another lefty, +500. Give me Cody Bellinger, lefty versus a righty. Cody, of course, we know has a power, only has 3 homers on the season. I think his power picks up. Of course, you know Cody can hit anywhere part of the field, but I like it. And this Texas Stadium has been more favorable in hitting than we thought. I would say thanks to the A's coming in, we saw them. We saw the A's hit against Eovaldi, hit 3 home runs in the first 4 batters and stuff like that. But in general, it seems like the ball's traveling well in Texas. And I expect lefties to continue like they did because there was a lot of lefty home runs in the athletics game. Could be the humidity in the air. So let's go.
I don't mind that at all. The one thing about Cody is, or Bellinger, I don't know. It's weird when you call him by the first name, and I did it by accident. The extremely low strikeout rate, 12.9%, which is really Leiter's only strong suit. So if he's able to get contact, he is coming up fast, and I like him to get good hard contact as well. Yeah. All right. That's it for baseball. Prince, I'm going to pass it over to you for soccer. Is there anything that we should be looking at today, down later in the week? What do you got?
Yeah, so for me, guys, just one play pre-match for me today. Like I said, it's a bit of a lighter slate today. We should have some more action tomorrow, of course. Champions League's in action tomorrow, so we'll definitely have some plays for that. But for today, just one pre-match play. I will be looking for live plays. If you guys want to follow me on X, I'll probably post some live plays over there at PrinceOfPicks10. You guys can follow me on X for more live plays. But in terms of pre-match, like I said, just one tonight. We're going to go to the Argentina Professional League. Some books might be called Liga Profesional Apertura. This is the Argentinian Premier League, basically. We're looking at a matchup tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, between Huracan and Argentinos Juniors. I like a low-scoring game in this one, so I'm going to take under 3.5 goals, and we're going to parlay that same-game parlay with Huracan on a double chance. You're going to get that at minus 150. When we're looking at the numbers here, it is significantly in favor of this play. Huracan coming to this one undefeated in 16 of their last 17 head-to-head against Argentinos Juniors. Also, the under 3.5 goals has also hit in 16 of the last 17 head-to-head between these two sides. So you are seeing low-scoring games, and you are seeing Huracan avoiding a defeat. Now, another play you guys could look at here, if you're looking for something with a little bit more value, you could play the draw. The draw has hit 11 times out of the last 16 between these two sides. 11 times. That's a staggering number here. For me personally, I don't like playing draws. I'd rather play double chances or draw no bets. I think you get more value on that just because I hate losing a bet or relying on neither team to win in order to win a bet, if that makes any sense. So, but again, that's probably going to be more value for you guys if you guys are looking for that. I haven't looked at the price of what the draw is for that game. But for me, guys, officially here, I'm just going to take Huracan. Double chance, plus under 3.5 goals. It is at minus 150, slightly juiced, but I think that the trends here in the data is overwhelmingly supporting that play.
Nice. I like it. I played it minus 155, which I thought that the value was still there on. So shop your lines, but it's the value's out there.
Yeah, and then like I said, that's it. And you guys follow me over on X at PrinceOfPicks10. If I see anything live today, I'll be sure to post some of it over there on the X profile and as well as the VIP channel.
Yep. All right. Now it's the last 10, 15 minutes of our show. Just going to invite anybody who wants to ask us any questions to come on up, request to speak, and we can answer them. Yeah, Prince, sorry, go on.
One thing I did want to talk about real quick before we head out of here, just kind of recapping the NFL draft, and I have one question in specific for Drew. Drew, first of all, are you there? Are you available to answer, or are you busy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So looking at the draft, and I have looked at like multiple sources here. Everyone's given the 49ers an F in their draft grade. Everyone's got them as the worst draft grade in the NFL over the draft. First of all, your thoughts on that, and why do you think that might be?
Oh, I saw in some places it was like C plus. But let me see.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at a few. They all the three I looked at. I can't remember which ones they were. I'd have to go back and source it, but they all had the 49ers as an F. But I think in any case, I mean, what do you think about the draft? I guess
I
is a
would
better
give
question
it
to ask you.
personally. I would give it a C plus personally. Actually, that's one of my buddies gave it. Who's a big Niners fan. I have multiple, of course, friends and big Niners fans. They give it a C plus. I would just say it's more of to me a B minus to a B. I guess the reason why they're giving it an F because they believe they shouldn't have drafted that. I guess that receiver early. They shouldn't have drafted a running back in the third. That's what I'm guessing. And that offensive lineman they eventually drafted. But personally, I liked our draft overall. I think we got draft capital out of it and being able to pick where we want to pick. I'm a fan of Dejon Stripling. I like that receiver. The pick I didn't necessarily like who we personally got, I guess, and I could be wrong, but it was Carver Willis, that offensive lineman, and Kalon Black. I think he's a really good running back, but we have multiple other running backs we wanted to give some love, but I guess they see something in him. But the picks I loved was Dejon Stripling, regardless of them. They could have gotten him definitely later, but he's 4.36 speed at 6'2", and they need someone that can stretch the field at the end of the day because Niners haven't had someone that can stretch the field like that probably since Ted Ginn back in the day for the Niners. And yeah, I know the fan because like the main reason they're probably giving this because like, oh, we got depth receiver and he probably won't start. Well, yeah, we have to factor in that we always get injured at receiver, and so do a lot of teams. You need that depth, and he's not going to start right away. We're probably going to, have him integrate in and switch out with like Ricky Pearsall and Christian Kirk, and Mike Evans probably only has like a few years left at the end of the day, and he could be a promising rookie, kind of like Chris Godwin was. People thought Chris Godwin was necessarily bad pick for the Bucks, but the other pick that I know was criticized was Romello Heights, the edge rusher from Texas Tech, who was opposite of David Bailey. I saw that there were certain people saying that, hey, he hasn't done anything since. Like the only one year he did well was because he was opposite of David Bailey, and the fact that he's 25 years old. And I don't care he's 25 because the fact that he's 25 shows that he is more pro ready, and we are not looking for a pass rusher to keep for 10 plus years necessarily because we have other veterans and we want to kind of win now mentality. And the fact that he is going to be in a similar situation, he's going to be opposite of Nick Bosa, and he's going to have Michael Williams in the middle. So I'm glad he does well opposite of another dominant pass rusher. And then I do like Ephesian Sai. I think it's Saishok. It was a 6'3" corner that we got as well. And then I believe we got like a 6'5" linebacker at the end of the draft, and we got another offensive lineman. So I give it personally a B minus. The only ones I would criticize is I like the Dejon Stripling pick. They just picked him, I think, a little too early. They could have gotten him late second round. And then Carver Willis was, I think, one of the fourth round picks. We could have gotten him in the sixth round. And then lastly, I guess drafting Kalon Black in the third round, we could have gotten later if we really wanted him. And I don't think we needed a running back. But all the other picks I liked.
Yeah, and to be fair, my Arizona Cardinals also got a lot of criticism. Their draft grade wasn't very good either. I think most places have them around a D plus, D minus, give or take. They're getting a lot of criticism for their number one pick. Of course, we already talked about that last podcast. So it's all subjective, right? We have to see how these players pan out here. But my Bears did pretty good. I think we had a pretty good draft. I love getting the Tiedemann, I believe is his name, the first round pick that we got out of Oregon, the defensive player. I think he's going to help out a lot. I am a little bit confused why we drafted a tight end, considering we already have Colton Loveland and we got Cole Kmet's on the books for 2 more years. I wonder if that says something about Cole Kmet's future here with the Bears. Maybe there's something in the what is it, the tea in the leaves, or what's the phrase saying? I don't know what the phrase is, but I think something could be coming up here. Maybe Cole Kmet could be on the move. I don't see why you would want to keep 3 tight ends on your roster. I mean, most teams don't really run with that. You could say maybe for injury insurance, but I don't know. It just seems to be maybe a problem waiting to happen. Congested locker room, you know what I mean?
So something I will say is when I don't buy into much of like the ESPN draft grades because the year that we got Nick Bosa was 2019, right? We had Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, the punter Mitch Wisnowski was really good, and Dre Greenlaw, right? And they criticized. I know Deebo Samuel's not with us anymore, but he had like 5 straight good years, and we don't make the Super Bowls probably without him. With how good he was for us in those runs, but I'm pretty sure they gave us like I believe it was like a C- grade for that draft. So, and we had a couple All Pros in that draft, actually three, with Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, and Dre Greenlaw. So, I like to see what's on the field. These experts can say someone got a D, and then it turns out great. They got an A, and it turns out bad. So, yeah,
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're just projecting, right? Nobody knows until they actually take the
Yeah, I
field. So
mean,
it's
like how
all
many
projections based on what they've seen.
how many number one
Yeah,
draft
go ahead.
picks really made it to be a number one player in the NBA, in the NFL?
Yeah, there's probably just as many flops as there are successes, right?
I would
You can go
say
down the
heck of a
list,
lot more
maybe
flops.
more, right? Maybe more. Yeah, yeah, right. You talk about top two picks, right?
oh
I
yeah.
can name one right here in Trubisky, right? Of course, Jamarcus Russell, infamously, Tim Couch.
Hey,
Where
I'm
you
just
go down the
teasing. You could
list,
just look
there's
at the
tons of.
Bears' number one pick every single.
Yeah, actually,
Well,
you
there's
could.
more
Actually, you
success
could.
technically for round 3 through 6 than round 1.
Yeah, 100%. That's where you get
Well,
the value
I
play.
know you're
That's what.
combining I know you're combining like 4 rounds, but combining 4 rounds versus like the first round, I think that's good comparison. You know,
Well, a lot of times that's where you get your value too, because you'll get guys who typically would be number one picks, and they kind of slip right for various reasons. So you get excellent value, maybe in the third round, fourth round. Maybe he's got some off-field issues or injury issues or whatever the case. That's where you get a lot of steals in the
they
draft
also go to
picks.
better
So
teams.
yeah, and they'll go to better teams as well. So they have more, the impact is more noticeable. It's hard to notice a player when you're on a losing team, right? So, although the NFL, everyone notices everyone. But, and then most your Giants, they're getting a lot of praise. Most of the places that I've looked, again, I've got about 3 to 4 different sources that I've checked for draft grades, just, for entertainment. It's just a little bit of fun, kind of get a blueprint of where these teams are. For their draft statuses, Giants are getting a lot of praise for their draft their draft class this season. Everyone really likes their pick of Arvell Reese. People seem to be really high on him, and I think that he's going to have an immediate impact on the Giants. Curious to see what your thoughts are. People are seeming pretty optimistic about the Giants.
Cautiously optimistic as a good Giants fan. Who's yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's all shiny. It's nice. It's like a new car. We're gonna have to see how it drives in reality, though. The NFL is tough, and we're in a very tough division. It's going to be hard to get them up to speed, ready to play week 1. I hope it works, and I'm looking forward to it. Again, cautiously optimistic. Last year I was not.
Rightfully so.
So,
But yeah, to your point, you guys are in a tough division. I mean, the Eagles also got a high grade for their draft this past weekend, and so did the Cowboys. So yeah, tough division for sure.
I think the Eagles are still obviously enemy number 1 across probably the league. They had a down year from their standards, but that is the team to beat, in my opinion. Right? Who else in the NFL is the team to beat?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it is probably the Eagles right now. It's probably the team that everyone's gonna,
Detroit,
have
maybe.
their radar on. Detroit, I'm not so sure
Maybe that's
about
just a personal
Detroit.
opinion thing.
Yeah, maybe because they're in my division. I'm like, no, not Detroit.
I really happen to like Detroit. I did
What
grow
about
up
the
there
Bears,
for a bit.
man? Look out for the
My
Bears.
mom's from
Look out for the
Detroit. I
Bears.
have no love for the Bears because I lived in Milwaukee and Detroit, both of whom hate
Uh-huh.
Chicago teams. If you're not familiar with
Uh-huh.
the geography there, Chicago is smack dab in the middle between Michigan and Milwaukee.
Yeah, we get the hate from both sides. It's all right. We'll take it. We hate them too.
Yeah.
It's reciprocal. But no, man, I think you're right. I think the Eagles are the team that probably is on everyone's hit list. I mean, just trying to think. Buffalo's inconsistent. Denver doesn't really have any offense. I don't really trust Bo Nix. The Chiefs, you expect them to come back, right? But they're kind of capped with their salary, so we'll see how they end up doing.
We actually have a
Yeah.
request from a listener. Hopefully this goes better than the last time we accepted a request. Just a reminder, I will cut you out if there's any cursing or anything. Please keep it professional, as we are a family-friendly show. But hello, Brick. You should be able to take yourself off mute and speak if you have an opinion or a thought. Now's the time. How you doing, man?
Yo, hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for joining and requesting to speak. We appreciate you having on. What are your thoughts today? Is it in football, basketball? Where are you going?
Baseball and basketball.
All right, hit us. What do you got?
I got Orlando. I think they're going to win tonight. Detroit's the favorite, but it's not by much. But I think if you Orlando money line bet on Orlando because the point spread's like 2.5. So I mean it's negligible. I also think Oklahoma is going to win again and sweep the Suns. Um, the point spread's like 10.5, so I think they'll cover that. And then the tough one here is they're going to be the Minnesota Denver game. The game's in Denver. It's another point spread just like Oklahoma City, where it's negative 10.5 to Denver side. But Minnesota is. I think they're going to upset Denver tonight.
That would be
As much as I
wild.
hate to say it.
Honestly, come back tomorrow if they do, and definitely take a ring around the, a lap around. What is it called? A lap around the house? Whatever it is, a victory
Yeah.
lap.
I mean, I like the
Lap around
Nuggets,
victory
but
lane.
yeah, I like the Nuggets, but
Listen, and they only need to win one game over the next how many? 3. So
yeah.
that is a tall order for Denver. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. What do you got in the MLB? That is more or less where I personally like to stay. Prince and Drew can talk on the NBA as much as they want. I'm
Sure.
more the MLB guy.
Yeah, there's not a whole. I mean, there's what 8 games today. It's not a full slate, but I've been noticing patterns with some of the teams that are traditionally kind of been the underdogs, but I've noticed that Vegas hasn't been picking up on the recent, I guess, trends with these, like the Rockies, for example. They swept the Mets. I know it's the Mets, but still, I mean, the Mets, they're with the number 2 highest paid salary players in all of baseball, and they're getting swept by the Rockies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
tough pill to swallow. My father-in-law is a huge Mets fan, and he asked me yesterday. He's like, "Can I bet on the Mets?" And I was like, "No." But then I did, obviously, and lost. I put a half a unit on them to come from behind to win
mhm.
both of yesterday's doubleheader games, and yeah, nothing doing there. It's a little embarrassing at this point.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, the Rockies, another one today. The Miami at and LA Dodgers, and that's a night game. The Dodgers are a heavy favorite, obviously, but Miami is another team that I mean, I just don't think they're going to do it tonight. But that's been another team I've been following, and they're pretty scrappy little ball club. They're getting it together. They'd be one to watch for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I guess for going forward in the season, because Vegas has been, and another one, the Athletics too. Just keep on the A's. Look at those teams and look at some matchups with them going forward. Is what I'm trying to convince or convey to
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show a lot. Fade the heavy brand name teams. A lot of times the public pushes the value way too far onto them, especially when they have someone like Yamamoto on the mound. I talked about it earlier. I like the under, and I think that there's value on the Marlins line over there. What was the other game you
Oh wait, can I
mentioned?
speak on that game real quick? The Marlins.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a fan of this Marlins team. I know my Giants won 2 out of 3, but they're a very gritty team. They're one of their biggest issues I've noticed. Like the bullpen has been pretty good, but sometimes the bullpen will like random collapse. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of Clayton. Fuller handles his starters sometimes. Like for example, he'll leave his starters in for like 90 plus pitches, and out of nowhere he'll take his starters out after only having like 70 pitches. He did with like Max Meyer yesterday. I'm very curious of like what his kind of starting pitching game plan is. I get that some of his starting pitchers aren't good in the 6th inning, but when he should ride with them more. But the Marlins do have a really good hitting team. Actually, 3 of their batters in the lineup are top 5 in the NL in batting average, and I think they have one of the most underrated players in the MLB, and Xavier Edwards, who you can make an argument is the overall like best like. He's a switch hitter too. Overall, like best hitter just getting the ball in play. Besides, of course, Luis Ariz, but he can hit power. He can direct the ball where he wants to go. He's a really good fielder, and you have a lot of other, a lot of other role players on that team that are under the radar. And 1 through 9, you have to be scared of, working long at bats and putting the ball in play.
Yeah, for sure. Again, like the play. By the way, as long as we're speaking here, and I was looking through the numbers, I kind of like the Angels here against the White Sox here, -116 on the money line. I'm going to put another quarter unit, not an official play, just like the Blue Jays quarter unit, but just curious how you guys kind of see that game. I'm really looking to just fade Anthony K. I don't see a lot of promising metrics. Not that I like Kahanowicz, but I do kind of see value on the Angels side here. They've been pretty solid actually on the road, which has been their primary fault going back a few years. I don't know, Brick, if you have a thought, Drew, Prince, any thoughts on this game before we wrap it up?
I like the Angels, but the White Sox is another one. They've been underdogs traditionally, and they had some interesting wins in close games. I know that's one thing that even if they lose, they still get considered the underdog. But the games have been pretty close. I agree with you. I think the Angels will pull it off, but the White Sox is another team to keep your eye on, especially with that player. I said he's the Otani of 2026, Murakami. I'm not pronouncing the player's name right, but he's another player from Japan, right? And I think he has 11 home runs. He's
Murakami. We've bet on him a
Murakami,
lot.
yeah.
We've talked about him a lot here. I actually hit my first home run prop of the year on him on opening day baseball. Prince, I think, has hit two home runs in the last week on him alone. Definitely a player who has single-handedly uplifted the White Sox. And again, for the White Sox and the Rockies, a part of the reason why I think you're seeing some resurgence on their ends compared to years in past is they really upgraded their pitching staffs so that they're not hanging their relief staff out to dry. All right.
On that game, though, that has the highest over-under of today's game, so it's 9.5. So I don't know if that tells you anything, or maybe that's some play or angle you want to work using that. Possibly, I don't know.
No, if anything, I'm just on the Angels side here. I'm going to get in, get out. But not touching the total in that game specifically. All right.
Alrighty.
We are at 10 past on the hour of our show. We're going to do our recap real quick and get on out of here for the day. Drew, do you mind recapping us first?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely do that. Mine, I have Dylan Cease under 17.5 outs for -120. Max Fried over 18.5 outs at +105. Franz Wagner over 8.5 rebounds and assists at -106. And then sprinkle Cody Bellinger home run at +500.
I love it. I'm going to just, my sprinkles real quick, non-official. It's not going to show up anywhere, but Blue Jays on the first 5 money line, -140, and the Angels full game money line, -112. Those are plays that I'm going to be personally sprinkling on just to track. My official plays, New York Yankees first 5 money line, parlayed with the full game money line. You can get this at -120 right now. Cubs money line, I got this at -112. I think you can get this at -102. And then Trent Grisham is my home run sprinkle of the day. Prince, close us out, brother.
Yep. So for me, guys, on the pitch, just one play in soccer today. We're going to the Argentina Pro League, 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Give me Huracan on a double chance with under 3.5 goals. That comes in around -150. On the ice tonight in the NHL playoffs, I will take the Golden Knights team total over 1.5, parlayed with the Philadelphia Flyers plus 1.5 on the spread. That comes in around -135. In the NBA tonight, give me the Pistons straight up on the money line. I will take the Thunder, lay the 10.5, -10.5 with the OKC Thunder. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, give me their team total over 105.5. That one comes in around -102. And then on the diamond tonight, in the ballpark, give me Manny Machado. We're going to sprinkle his home run at +444. That's going to do it for us, guys. This has been the OnlyBets Sports Podcast, Monday edition with DrewDelucchi and SternBets. I am the Prince of Picks. Thanks for Brick for jumping on and giving his thoughts and analysis, of course. And anyone else out there, you guys want to give your thoughts, analysis, plays, picks, anything at all, come join us. We're live Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on X at OnlyBets Podcast. You can follow us over there on our brand new webpage, and we'd be happy to have you. Also, we are looking for co-hosts as well. So, again, join us 11:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. You like to talk about sports, you like to talk about sports betting, come join us. We'd love to have you have your thoughts and love to have you with us. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close it out for today, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Let's cash out these tickets. We will be back tomorrow, same place, same time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. DrewDelucchi, SternBets. I am the Prince of Picks. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Have a great day.